The Final Four, better known as NASCAR's championship race, is NASCAR's way of crowning a champion, taking whichever 4 drivers who can advance through the playoffs to whichever track is hosting the finale at the end of the season and having them compete in a race with the rest of the field, and whoever gets the highest finish in that race is that season's champion. The entire system works as follows. The playoffs was a format introduced to determine the champion of the Cup Series starting in 2014, and it entered the Xfinity and Truck Series in 2016. To make the NASCAR playoffs, you must either win a race in the 26-race regular season, or if there aren't 16 winners by the time the regular season ends, you can fill the remaining positions if you have enough points. The playoffs are divided into multiple rounds, each consisting of a set number of races. As the playoffs advance through the rounds, the number of eligible drivers is reduced. The round of 16 consists of 16 drivers, where 4 drivers become eliminated after 3 races and the remaining 12 drivers repeats it down to 8. Then down to the championship 4, where whichever of the 4 finishes highest in the final race wins the championship. To help you advance through the playoffs, you can rack up playoff points in the regular season which carry over after each round. Winning gives you 5 playoff points, while earning a stage win gives you 1. Winning the regular season championship, or finishing top 8 in the standings will also earn you some playoff points. That basically covers the playoffs.
Who is best poised to join Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, and Martin Truex? Well, check your mirrors because that object getting larger is Kyle Larson.
Kid's got a lot of talent.
And here comes Larson going into 3 for the lead. Here comes the 18. He puts the bump in the back of him.
I'll tell you one thing, that 41 car, I wouldn't put anything past him.
Logano's going to go top to bottom to keep Kurt Busch at bay.
It's tough when a driver dominates a 36-race season just to lose the championship race. It's even tougher when it happens 3 times in one night. The Big Three was a name given to 3 drivers for dominating the 2018 season. Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Busch, and Kevin Harvick, who combined to win 21 of the 36 races run in 2018, with Busch and Harvick winning 8 races each, and Truex winning 4. Each of those drivers using playoff points earned from the regular season had no issues making it to the Final Four race at Homestead. The 4th driver in that race was Joey Logano, who used to win at Talladega to make the playoffs and got through the first 2 rounds with no issues. Entering Martinsville, Logano was 6th in the playoffs, -3 to Chase Elliott, and outside of a total collapse by the Big Three during the round of 8, the other 5 drivers knew it was going to be 5 of them going after the last spot to make the championship race. Joey Logano would spend most of the race dominating, but with 22 to go, his teammate Brad Keselowski had ran him down after a restart and was trying to pass him. Joey Logano would defend his teammate for the next 12 laps before Martin Truex Jr. would pass Keselowski with 10 to go, setting his sights on leader Joey Logano. Truex would run down Logano after 4 laps, getting to the inside of him entering turn 1 with 6 to go, and they would continue to run side by side until exiting turn 2 on the white flag.
It's a trip to Miami to try to defend his championship. The 2017 champion, will he get the bumper? Yes, he does. Here comes Logano. Logano on the inside, a drag race, they're sideways, and it's going to be Logano getting the win.
Logano, seeing this as his opportunity to make the Final Four, would move Truex immediately after Truex had spent 6 laps racing him clean for the win. Truex, who is rightfully frustrated, did his post-race interview making this quote.
He may win the battle, but he ain't win the damn war.
That's it?
That's it.
So he's not going to get there. He's not going to win the championship.
He ain't.
How do you retaliate?
I'm just not going to let him win it. I'm going to win it.
The Final Four was set after a Kevin Harvick Texas win, a Kyle Busch Phoenix win, and Martin Truex Jr. pointing himself in. It was the Big Three versus Joey Logano going into Homestead for the championship race. Rolling off the grid, Busch qualified in 2nd place, followed by Truex in 3rd, Logano in 5th, and Harvick in 12th. The first 2/3 of the race went as expected, with at least one of the Big Three leading the championship standings, before Logano took the lead on lap 168 and held it for 50 laps before getting passed by Truex with 49 to go. Coming to a restart with 15 laps left, the final 4 were 1 through 4, led by Truex and Busch on the front row, and Logano and Harvick in 3rd and 4th. Truex would leave for 2 laps after the restart before coming to 12 to go, where he would ultimately learn that he had lost the battle and was in fact going to lose the war.
All the way to the back bumper of the 78, now to the outside. Here comes Logano, trying to take the lead away. Wow, he drives past the 78. He'll take the lead as they go down the backstretch.
Buried that car down into turn 1.
How did that car stick? That's incredible.
The quote Truex had made following Martinsville was a perfect way to describe the Big Three in 2018, with them winning the battle against the field for 35 races, just to eventually lose the war in the end. Domination in NASCAR is fun, but nearly exploiting a new championship format 1 year into its arrival is even better. 2014 introduced the first version of NASCAR's playoffs, and it was complete chaos. Due to the lack of bonus points that could be earned in the regular season, it meant that each round, every driver would start off only a few points away from the lead, meaning no driver was safe in that round unless you won. Our antagonist for this is Ryan Newman, who was the 15th seed entering the playoffs, plus 36 to the cut line in his first year at RCR since leaving Stewart-Haas Racing. After an 8th place at Dover, Ryan Newman made it to the round of 12, plus 14 over first eliminated AJ Allmendinger. Starting the round of 12, Newman would have back-to-back top 10s at Kansas and Charlotte, leaving him in 4th place, plus 21 over the cut line, entering the elimination race at Talladega. As he normally does, Newman would spend the entire race running in the back looking to avoid the big one, and while running 27th with 14 to go during a green flag pit stop cycle, a caution for the 42 of Kyle Larson spinning would gift Newman the lead with 9 to go. Newman would lead the field until a debris caution and a crash would put him second for the green-white checkered, and going up against Brad Keselowski, who was in a must-win situation, it was Brad Keselowski who came out on top. But for Newman, getting a top 5 meant he would advance to the round of 8. Following Talladega, the round of 8 was set entering Martinsville. Newman would again have a great run, qualifying in 10th place and finishing 3rd as the second highest playoff car to Jeff Gordon, who finished 2nd. Newman would leave Martinsville, 2nd in the playoffs, plus 3 over 5th place Denny Hamlin. Through the first 300 laps of the Fall Texas race, it looked like Newman was easily going to have another top 10 run, before contact with an opponent in the playoffs, Matt Kenseth, would cut his tire down, relegating him to a 15th place finish, leaving him plus 11 to the cut line, entering the cutoff race at Phoenix. Unfortunately for the 31 team, they didn't have the speed that they needed all weekend, qualifying 20th and running in the teens all day, while 8th seed Kevin Harvick was on his way to another Phoenix victory to make his spot in the Final Four. With 7 to go, Kyle Larson would pass Ryan Newman for 11th, putting him in a tie with Jeff Gordon for 4th in the final spot in the Championship 4. But Gordon had the tiebreaker. He would spend the next 6 laps behind Kyle Larson in 12th place, knowing he needed that spot. And when the white flag flew, he knew what he had to do to make the Final Four.
Top 4. Hamlin and Logano, 5th and 6th. Ryan Newman looking to find a way through. It doesn't look like it's going to work. Win, and he's in to compete for a championship. Checkered flag at Phoenix for Kevin Harvick. Newman's beside the 42, and he's 42's in the wall.
Clear, checkered flag, checkered flag.
Ryan Newman is going to get in with that move on the last lap.
With that move, Newman knocked Gordon out of the playoffs, cementing the Final Four as Kevin Harvick, Joey Logano, Denny Hamlin, and Ryan Newman. And again, the 31 team would qualify poorly, starting 21st. He would spend the first half of the race driving to the top 10 before settling in the back half of the top 10 for the next 100 laps. A caution flew with 19 to go, and everyone outside of Jeff Gordon pit, with Denny Hamlin and Ryan Newman making the call for 2 tires, while Kevin Harvick, who led the Championship 4 all day, would make the call for 4 tires and start 12th. After a few green flag laps, a caution would fly, and Gordon would pit, giving up the lead, setting up a restart with 9 to go, with Denny Hamlin and Ryan Newman as the front row, and Kevin Harvick, who had gained 6 positions on the fresh tires, in 6th place. Unfortunately for Ryan Newman, 2 tires against 4 at Homestead was a battle that was never going to be won. But coming within half a second from exposing NASCAR's playoffs is a better consolation prize than most people get. Yes, nearly exposing a new format a year into its existence is impressive, but doing something never seen in history while also getting your own rule made seems worthy of mention. 2022 was Ross Chastain's first year at Trackhouse, and he would lock himself into the playoffs with a win at COTA in the 6th race of the season, and gain even more playoff points with the win at Talladega. 2022 wasn't perfect for Ross Chastain though, because when he wasn't running up front, he was busy making himself the most hated driver in NASCAR.
Ross has been all over the back of Denny, and he finally just runs into him.
He definitely moved him. Probably frustration. He was door to door with him.
Oh! Wow, there on your tire, really tight.
It was a show.
They run down the racetrack and then they were 3 wide. Just got into the
On the restart, Chase Elliott was right on Chastain's bumper, and Denny Hamlin to his inside. No friends.
Oh my Lord.
That's why you don't poke the bear right there. And I hate to say it, but that's what happens. There's consequences to every action. And unfortunately, Ross Chastain is experiencing those consequences.
And that wasn't all. This continued for about a lap and a half.
Chastain would limp into the playoffs, with 6 straight finishes of 18th or worse, getting started off with him getting put into the wall at Pocono by Denny Hamlin due to his gateway antics. To get through the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, it was a breeze for Chastain. Using solid finishes and his points from the regular season, he made it to the round of 8 with no issues. The one team would hit their stride there. With back-to-back second-place finishes at Las Vegas and Homestead, it set them up to enter the cutoff race at Martinsville, plus 19 to the cut line. Starting 9th in the race, he would finish there in Stage 1 and finish 10th in Stage 2. While fellow playoff opponent Denny Hamlin won both stages. Another playoffer Chase Elliott finished 2nd in each stage, meaning if a driver below the cut line won, it would be a battle between those 3 for the final 2 spots. After a caution with 32 to go, it was a driver below the cut line and Chase Briscoe leading the race using pit strategy to get the lead, and he was going to try and hold off the field for 24 laps. Briscoe would only manage to hold on for 18 laps though. As with 5 to go, a different driver below the cut line was trying to win themselves in. Christopher Bell was on 4 fresh tires and looking to pass him. During this, Ross Chastain sat in 12th place, minus 2 to the cut line, and was trying to get around Chase Elliott. With 3 to go, Chastain would get past Elliott as well as Cole Custer, putting him in a tie with Denny Hamlin for a few moments, until Denny Hamlin also passed 2 cars. Coming to the white flag with no cars near him to pass, and down 2 points, to make the championship race, Ross Chastain would have to send it into turn 3 and defy the odds.
He's won his way into the championship.
Let's go get us a championship.
And the fight for points right at the line. The one of Chastain past Hamlin.
It was a video game move off into turn 3. He put the car against the wall wide open all the way around turn 3 and 4.
Chastain, Elliott, Bell, and Logano are going to fight for a championship in Phoenix. Take a look at what he did.
Going from 10th to 4th using a wall ride in the final corner, Chastain would finish plus 4 to the cut line, knocking out Hamlin and advancing to the championship race at Phoenix. His competition for his first championship was Joey Logano, Chase Elliott, and Christopher Bell. Chastain's weekend got off to a bad start, qualifying 25th in a race where passing would be limited, and to make matters worse for Chastain, it was a Final 4 driver in Joey Logano on the pole. He would drive up to 13th by the end of Stage 1 and was 11th at Stage 2's conclusion. With 111 laps to go, Chastain was finally near his competition and restarting behind Elliott. Elliott tried blocking him on the restart to no avail as Chastain never lifted and turned Elliott into the inside wall, knocking one of the Final 4 drivers out of contention. After passing Briscoe for 3rd, Chastain would try to run down leader Joey Logano. But with Logano's teammate in second and those two having the best cars all day, Chastain would have to settle for second place in the championship, and his own rule made for his Martinsville move following the 2022 season. Defying the Odds highlights the idea that with hard work, determination, and the right mindset, it's possible to achieve remarkable things, even in impossible situations. In the world of sports, moments of triumph and heartbreak go hand in hand. For every exhilarating victory, there's a heart-wrenching defeat that leaves fans and athletes in ruins. Carl Edwards went into his second year at JGR, coming off a 2-win season the year prior, and with back-to-back wins at Bristol and Richmond, he would match that total 9 races into the season. Edwards would have an uneventful regular season, and when the playoffs started, it was more of the same thing. Starting off the playoffs with 5 straight top 15 finishes before a 29th at the round of 8 cutoff race at Talladega. Fortunately for Edwards, his solid finishes in the playoffs and his bonus points throughout the season would get him through with ease. Starting off the round of 8 with a 33rd at Martinsville, he would go into Texas down 32 to the cut line. Edwards ran top 5 all day at Texas, and with the caution flying with 78 to go, he would win the race off of pit road. Throughout the day, it had been raining on and off, therefore it was an unknown if the race would be going green all the way. Leading the field for the lap 261 restart, Edwards would hold the lead during a couple of cautions before rain started to fall on lap 290. And after sitting at the track for 9.5 hours, NASCAR called the race on lap 293, giving Carl Edwards his ticket to the Final Four. After the next week at Phoenix, it was set who would be joining Edwards at Homestead, being Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, and Jimmy Johnson. Starting 10th for the race, he was the second highest qualifier in the Final Four, beside teammate Kyle Busch in 9th. And within the first corner, Edwards would take the lead of the championship for the next 200 laps. Nobody could compete with Edwards all day. However, when Ryan Blaney blew a tire with 60 to go and the field came to pit road, Edwards' pit crew dropped him 3 positions, 2 of which being against Championship 4 drivers. With 25 to go, Edwards had ran down Kyle Busch after the restart and passed him, taking back the championship lead. The next 10 laps would run caution-free, until a controversial call to throw the yellow for debris off the 32 of Dylan Lupton. Edwards would win the race off pit road against the Championship 4 drivers, with Logano coming out third, restarting him directly behind Edwards.
Carl Edwards on the inside. Green flag back in the air. They're blocking. Good going down low. Carl Edwards into the wall. He got tagged by the 22. Big hits by the 19. And the caution comes back out again.
Sports, as we've seen, can take us on an emotional roller coaster. While these moments can be painful, they also contribute to the drama and passion that makes sports so compelling for fans and participants, from the agony of defeat to the elation of victory.